Welcome to the Dallas Zoo, Texas's largest zoological experience. Dallas's 106 acres are conveniently split in two. Zoo North features an interesting assortment of standalone attractions that includes reptiles, raptors, primates, and more. But most people would agree that the main reason to visit this zoo is what lies through the tunnel. One of the most complete African complexes ever built, which itself is divided in two. The newer half is the 11-acre Giants of the Savanna, which opened in 2010, but we'll be saving that for a later date. Today's tour will cover what came 20 years earlier, the wilds of Africa. I've said this about other African exhibits before, but the wilds of Africa really does have a little bit of everything, with both star animals and lesser-known species from Africa's rivers, rainforest, kopjes, and even more that you can't currently see. Before we get started, I want you to comment below, what is your favorite African exhibit? While they are not technically part of the wilds of Africa, your experience at the Dallas Zoo will start with African animals, a mixed-species lemur habitat filled with large, natural trees just inside the zoo's entrance. From there you have the choice to go right up the stairs to Zoo North, or turn left to enter the tunnel to Africa, which at this time is lined with displays spotlighting 12 women and their stories making a difference with careers in STEM. Once you're through the tunnel, your journey begins on the beaches of Southwest Africa with the Penguin Cove, a simple but effective habitat at bringing you close to the endangered African penguin. The Dallas Zoo participates in global efforts to conserve African penguins who are threatened by competition with commercial fishermen, polluted water, and loss of nesting habitat. In honor of Pride Month, it seems an appropriate time to mention that penguins will sometimes form same-sex couples who may then try to steal eggs from other pairs or try their luck at hatching a rock. Next door is a well-furnished, moated habitat that was home to mandrills until 2019, but now you will hopefully spot Finnick, who is enjoying his retirement after fathering multiple litters of cubs at the wilds. Unlike many other animals, male cheetahs are more social, often living in coalitions, while females typically live alone. Cheetahs probably aren't the first animal you'd think of when it comes to the exotic pet trade, but owning these majestic cats is considered a status symbol in parts of the Middle East. So the Dallas Zoo works in collaboration with the Cheetah Conservation Fund to intercept trafficked cubs en route. Cheetahs are also affected by climate change and human conflict, but one of the more unique issues they are facing is a lack of genetic diversity, believed to originate from a significant population drop during the last ice age. As a result, today's cheetahs are often more susceptible to diseases and other health issues. The remainder of the Wilds of Africa trail can be traversed in either direction, but we'll maneuver through the crowds to begin with the Gorilla Trail, which appropriately leads us to the Gorilla Research Center, a 2-acre complex that opened with the Wilds of Africa in 1990 and 2 years later was awarded for significant achievement by the AZA. The trail starts you at the North Bunker, offering ground-level viewing for the first gorilla habitat. The trail climbs, offering more viewing opportunities before you reach the research station, the centerpiece of the complex, with more large glass viewing windows into the North habitat, where you will find the zoo's family troop of 6. Led by 38-year-old Silverback Marcus, who is actually the newest member of the troop, joining the family in 2021. He lives with youngsters Sambili and Mabani, born in 2018 and 2019 respectively, as well as 3 adult females, Asha, Shanta, and Megan. Reflected across from them is the South habitat, which offers similar viewing opportunities to the north all around the exhibit. This is the residency of the zoo's 4-member bachelor troupe, composed of Bowenzi, Shanna, Juba, and Zola, all of whom were born in the year of 2002, with Juba and Bowenzi arriving from Toledo in 2010, and Shanna and Zola from Calgary in 2013. 4 years later, Zola became an internet sensation when he was caught on camera splashing around in a kiddie pool, becoming known as the dancing gorilla. Wild western lowland gorillas live in the remote West African rainforest of Gabon, Cameroon, the Congo, and other surrounding countries. The critically endangered western lowland gorilla is actually just one of 2 subspecies of western gorilla, with the other being the even more rare cross-river gorilla, of which only several hundred remain. Studies indicate that these 2 subspecies diverged only around 400 years ago and may have become isolated due to increased human activity. Near the South Gorilla habitat is a simple yard for the wattled crane. The largest African crane, these wetland natives will submerge their heads completely underwater to feed on aquatic vegetation, a primary component of their diet, which also includes tubers, frogs, and insects. Wattled cranes put their size to good use and can become aggressive when defending a territory or their young, even being recorded attacking humans. More birds await us in the large forest aviary. Viewing all along the front of the aviary guarantees your chance to see a plethora of African birds of all varieties. On the ground, look for several species of ducks, like the common shelduck, a primarily Eurasian species that does appear in the far north of Africa in countries like Egypt, Libya, and Algeria. In the trees you may spot the beautiful violet Turaco. Their vibrant colors can actually make them hard to spot in the wild, as their violet-blue plumage blends in with the shady forest canopy. The Hamerkop is so named because of the pointy feathers on the backside of its head, which give the head a hammer-shaped appearance. This unique wading bird is not a heron or stork, but rather the only member of its own distinct family, and are now believed to be more closely related to pelicans. Hamerkops build the biggest nest of any African bird, and it appeared the zoo's hamerkops were hard at work building one of their own. If you stop by the aviary earlier in the day, you may be able to see feeding time for the hooded vulture. Among the smallest Old World vultures, hooded vultures are generally unafraid of humans and can be observed following behind plows to feed on the insects that are unearthed. Despite population numbers of nearly 200,000, the hooded vulture is classified as critically endangered due to a recent population decline, in part caused by poisoning from pesticides and hunting for medicinal uses. Exiting out of the aviary, one of the wilds of Africa's species that I unfortunately didn't see much of was the Nile crocodile, but if you do want to see some active crocs, I recommend that card above. From there, the trail slowly rises, bringing us to 1997's Chimpanzee Forest, a lush, sloping hillside where you can find the exhibit's namesake. Chimpanzees share over 98% of their DNA with humans, and alongside the bonobo are our closest living relatives. They just happen to be 7 times stronger than we are. Some examples of the chimpanzees' incredible intelligence are their ability to learn sign language in a captive environment and observations of chimps using medicinal plants to treat themselves in the wild. Other than ourselves, chimpanzees are the only great apes to regularly supplement their diet with meat, usually with organized hunts of smaller primates. However, a majority of their diet is still composed of over 80 different varieties of plants, which the chimps will spend up to 8 hours a day foraging for. Since chimpanzees are so well known in pop culture, it can be easy to forget that these magnificent animals are endangered. Population estimates range from 170,000 to 300,000, but these numbers are dropping due to the usual suspects like deforestation as well as hunting for the bushmeat trade. The Dallas Zoo is currently home to a troop of 9, 4 males and 5 females, ranging in age from 48-year-old Margaret to 15-year-old George. When you have this many chimps of all ages, things are bound to get rowdy, which I got to witness firsthand on my second pass by their exhibit. You're next offered a backside view of the forest aviary before the landscape abruptly changes from the forest to the Kopje. Amongst the giant boulders, look for the Klipspringer, a small antelope that specializes in living in these rocky conditions. Their hooves are specially adapted to gain extra traction on the rocks with a sort of suction cup-like effect. The name Klipspringer is a combination of two Afrikaans words that appropriately combine to mean rock leaper. It was once claimed that Klipspringers could jump 25 feet into the air, but the more accurate number of 10 to 12 feet is still impressive. The Dallas Zoo is having great success breeding this unique antelope, with calves born in May of 2023 and January of 2024. Unlike most of the other species I've talked about on this tour, I'm happy to report the Klipspringer is facing few threats in the wild thanks to their remote and uninviting habitat. The second Kopje exhibit, once home to meerkats, is now the residency of the Cape porcupine. The trail winds its way to what could be considered the grand finale of the wilds of Africa, and what is still the area's most recent addition, the Simmons Hippo Outpost. Despite the name entering from this side, the complex begins with a small demonstration yard for the secretive Okapi. The Dallas Zoo is a leader in Okapi conservation, working with the Okapi Conservation Project to coordinate anti-poaching patrols. Unfortunately, I visited a little too soon to see their latest conservation success, baby Malamu. She is the 37th Okapi born at the Dallas Zoo, but the first since 2013, and also the first calf for her parents, Maziwa and Ikenji. Since so many Okapis have been born here, around 75% of the global captive Okapi population has ties to the Dallas Zoo. Across from the small Okapi yard is the Hippo Outpost main event. You can view the hippos from all along the boardwalk, which leads to a single underwater viewing window at the end. On my visit, I saw a 17-year-old boy pillow with her 2-year-old calf, Kalo, who was born October 30th, 2022. While I only saw the pair, if you visit now, you may see all 4 of the zoo's hippos on habitat together, including Kalo's father, Gus, who himself is just 6 years old, and Boypilow's older calf, Adana, who was also born here in Dallas in 2019. The ancient Greeks gave the hippopotamus its name meaning river horse. However, hippos are more closely related to whales and dolphins. The world's 3rd largest land mammal, a bulky hippo may not appear quick and agile, but they can run at nearly 20 miles per hour and maneuver deftly up and down steep riverbanks. Hippos are the only mammals to make amphibious calls. Above-water sounds are made through their nostrils and taken in through their ears, while underwater sounds resonate through their jawbones, meaning they can take in and put out above and underwater communications at the same time. Placed directly behind the hippos, it's easy to miss that you're looking at a second, much more lush Okapi habitat. An Okapi's iconic striped pattern helps them blend with the broken beams of sunlight that filter through the forest. Their velvety coats are oily, which causes rain to slide off, keeping the Okapi dry in their rainforest home. Alongside giraffes, the Okapi is the only surviving member of the Giraffidae family, which was once widespread across Africa and Eurasia. The Okapi is often described as a living fossil due to their close morphological resemblance to many extinct Giraffidae species. Nearby the Hippo Outpost is a simple aviary with more hooded vultures, as well as the white-backed vulture and the saddle-billed stork. Standing at nearly 5 feet in height, this is the tallest stork in the world. They are silent except for the clacking of their bills, since they lack a syrinx or vocal organ. The image of a saddle-billed stork was used in the Egyptian hieroglyphics by the pharaoh Kaba as part of the depiction of his name. The final exhibit of the wilds of Africa is a small lagoon for lesser flamingos, who were off exhibit at the time of my visit. And that was the wilds of Africa at the Dallas Zoo. If you, like me, are impressed with what you just saw, I think it's important to remember that most of this was built in the 90s, and it is, in reality, only half of the wilds of Africa. the rest of which was viewable via the Adventure Safari monorail until it permanently closed in 2020, leaving numerous spacious habitats depicting a variety of biomes and housing many less common zoo species inaccessible to the public. Hopefully these exhibits will be viewable again someday, and taking them into account, I believe the Wilds of Africa is firmly placed among the best African complexes ever built. Thank you for watching.